Om Vakratunda Mahataya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Vishavahai. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. So we are seeing Yoga Darshana. Who is the propounder of yoga? Yoga Darshana. Answer. Who is the propounder of Yoga Darshana? Please unmute your mic. Yes.
Ji, Patanjali.
Patanjali. You all hear me, right?
Hari Om Ji.
Can you hear me? Shruyate va?
Yes Ji, we can hear you Ji.
Yes. Patanjali is the propounder of Yoga Darshana. Okay. So, his sutra called Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that is the basis for this darshana. And the first sutra is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That is how he defines yoga as Chitta Vritti Nirodha. The first sutra is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. You can chant the 10 sutras. I will just give you the meaning of the 10 sutras. So if it is asked, write any 5 sutras with a meaning, you can write. Okay.
Okay.
Atha Yoga Anushasanam. This is the beginning of the yoga. The teaching of yoga is begun. That is the meaning. Atha, now. Yoga Anushasanam. Anushasanam means exposition, teaching. Atha Yoga Anushasanam.
Atha Yoga Anushasanam.
The yoga that is being expounded here. Even though the meaning of the word yog, yuj from the dhatu to means to join to yog, the yoga, the word comes. So it means joining. Aikyam. That is one meaning. But the commentator Boja is one of the commentator. What he has said is, yes, he had defined yoga as Viyoga, in the sense Viyoga, that is separation of the Atma from Anatma. From Anatma. So separation of Atma from Anatma. Anatma Vishaya, that is called. So if you separate from Anatma Vishaya, then it is, you are separating from non-essential, untruth. Separating from untruth is truth. Going towards truth or reaching truth, or it is the truth itself. So you are defined in a negative way. So anyway, so that is Yoga Anushasanam. The second sutra, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. Let's chant.
Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha.
So that is second sutra. Is defining yoga. What is yoga here? Yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. Here this book, the author has said, Chitta Vritti. Vritti of the Chitta. Chitta meaning mind. The vrittis of the mind, the modification. Vritti means thoughts. The thought modification, the thoughts of the mind. Nirodha. Nirodha means regulated. That is the right meaning. Okay. It is not stopping or it is not suppressing. It is regulation of the thoughts of the mind. That is called Nirodha. Yogaha Chittavritti Nirodha. The right meaning would be it is not stopping the function of the mind. If mind is not there, then what is that? Then the person cannot be a sane person. He cannot think at all. He cannot do any activity. So regulating the thoughts of the mind, that is the meaning. So that second sutra, yoga is defined. Yogaha chittavritti nirodha. Chitta meaning mind. Nirodha means regulation. So regulation of the chittavritti, the thoughts of the mind, modifications of the thoughts of the mind is called yogaha iti. Okay.
Yes,
The
Ji.
next one. So chitta, when we say, okay, chitta meaning mind, or otherwise called antakarna. Otherwise called you can call antakarnam. Antakarnam is a broader term. Antakarnam, when we say, antakarnam consists of chitta, that is chittam, panaha, buddhihi, agankara. In English, we say mind. We translate the word chitta as mind. We translate the word antakarnam as mind because in English we don't have separate word for everything. Antakarna meaning inner instrument, like we have bhagyakarna, external instrument like eyes, etc., eyes, ears, etc. So only inner instrument. That's called antakarnam. That is called mind in English generally. But mind itself, that is antakarnam itself, plays 4 different roles. There's 4. It is chittam, manas, mind, and agankara. So all the 4, the same antakarnam playing different roles. That time get different names. Okay, this antakarnam is made from the sattva aspect of the Panchamahabhutas. Now, when this antakaranam, the mind, has got different conditions, it is not in the same condition throughout, right? Sometimes the mind is restless, sometimes it becomes very torpid. So those are called, yeah, I think the author has mentioned later, or here, where it is, the mind undergoes, here it is. There's 5 different states. Antakaranam, otherwise called the mind or chitta, or we can use the word chitta in this context because the Acharya here, Patanjali Maharishi, has used the name chitta. So chitta has got 5 different states. That is the state of the mind. Kshipta. Kshipta means impulsive. The mind is restless. Restlessness of the mind. That time the mind is given a name. Kshipta, this depending on the state. Kshipta chitta, chittamiti. Then mind is very dull, torpid. Mudaha. Then when it is distracted, the kshipta chittam. When it is one-pointed, focused, concentrated, then it is ekagra chittam. When it is restrained, inhibited, that is called niruddha. So in each state of mind, there is chittavritti, there is modification of the thoughts. So the state of the mind is different in different states. So therefore, now the yoga, when we say yoga is chittavritti nirodha, if so many different states are there, then how yoga is possible. That is why yogaha chittavritti nirodha. So that regulation of the thoughts is called yoga. When the mind is in the state of kshipta, it means it is highly impulsive, restlessness because of rajas and tamas. Therefore, only it is goes out vikshipta, carried over by rajas and tamas. It is attracted by the sense objects and therefore wants to gain that. Similarly, when tamas is more, then mind becomes dull. So when you are sleepy, the mind is dull. When the mind doesn't think, not able to think, that's called mood avastha, dull. So similarly, when the mind is restless, sometimes you have the restless, mind is restless. Therefore, rajas dominates. And when the mind is ekagra, one point, That is the manifestation of sattva guna. Mind is unfocused. In meditation, it is focused. At least you try to focus your mind. So, niruddha. Niruddha is restriction. So, all these are different states of the mind. If the mind is in different states, then how this yoga is possible. Therefore, only chitta vritti nirodha. Okay. Therefore, chitta vritti nirodha. Then the next one is tada drishtuhu swarupe avasthanam.
Tada drishtuhu swarupe avasthanam.
Just giving a simple meaning of the sutra, 10 sutras. We are not going to cover everything. Maybe later when I take class separately Yoga Darshanam, that time I can tell you can join. We'll do
Yes.
that Yoga Darshanam separately. Tada drishtuhu swarupe avasthana. If possible with the Bhashyam, Vyasa Bhashyam or other Bhashyams are there. We'll try. Otherwise, simple meaning at least. We can elaborate on each sutra. But there is no time now here. That's the simple meaning I'm giving. Drashtuhu. What is drashtuhu? Drashta is seer. Seer. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Avasthana means established. Establishment. Swarupe means nature. One's form. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. What is the swarupa of the seer? Seer means a person. The one who sees. The one who, not one seer means not, it is the one who, not only with seeing, it means the kartuhu, the one who does, the one who is a pramata, the knower, seer. So, tada drashtavu swarupe. When the mind is regulated, when the modification of the thoughts of the mind is regulated, then what happens? Then the person abides in its nature, real nature, because the mind doesn't undergo any change, undergo any this visible 5 changes, kshipta, etc., the 5 different states not carried over by the different thoughts. So then it remains in its swarupa as it is. These 5, the states only disturb the mind. So when it is not disturbed by these any of the 5 states, then it means what? It remains in its the person remains in its swarupa is nature. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So if you are interested in being with you, then yoga is important. Chittavirti nirodha is important. Understand? Is it clear?
It's clear, ji.
Yes.
Ji.
So in the if it is asked, we have to write tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Kada yada chittavirti nirodha. Yada chittasya चित्तवृत्तेः अथवा चित्तवृत्तीनां निरोधः भवति तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे स्वरूप अवस्थानं भवति तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूप अवस्थानं भवति. Then only the person can remain in his real nature, right? Then only you can see in the pond when the water is troubled, you cannot see the bottom of the pond. The sediments you have disturbed the water, and therefore all the sediments what will happen? They will come up. So they are because they come, therefore you cannot see the bottom of the lake. But now the sediments are all settled. When it is settled, then you can see the bottom of the river, the pond, which is free from any ripples, which is free from any agitation. Similarly, in the agitated state of mind, the drashtuhu, the person, cannot have the vision of himself. That is the idea. Understand? Only that much is enough now here. Then the 4th sutra, vritti sarupya mitaratra.
Vritti sarupya mitaratra.
Vritti sarupyam. Vritti means the modifications of the mind, the thought vritti. Sarupyam means identification. Itaratra. Itaratra means what? Swarupa. If it is not Swarupa Avasthanam, if the person is not established in its own nature, then what happens? then carried over by the thought of the mind. If you are angry, then you become an angry person. But is anger is your real nature? No.
No.
Anger comes and goes. If you are worrying, is worry is your nature? No. Worry also comes and goes. Only all the emotions, anxiety, fear, whatever, love, hate, everything. Love also doesn't stay forever. Hate also doesn't stay forever. It comes and goes, right? Being free from all that, established in your swarupa, not carried over by the thought of the mind. When you're not carried over by the thought of the mind, then you are with yourself. That is swarupa avasthan. So when chittavritti nirodha is there, then swarupa avasthanam bhavati. Now, if it is not there because of the different states of mind, that is called itaratra. In other states of mind, what happens? You are absorbed in the thought of the respective states. If your mind is, if the mind entertains the thoughts of anger, you are angry. So that time you cannot have the swarupa avasthanam, right? When the mind is dull, or mind is vikshipta, or mind is shipta, at that time, based on the different conditions of the mind, the drashtu is carried over. The drashtu, the person behaves, right? Therefore, in other states, there is identification with the thoughts of the mind. Whereas in Swarupa Avasthanam, there is no any particular identification. There is no identification with any of the thoughts. Understand? That's the difference. Showing the contrast between the two states. Swarupa Avasthanam is one, and other than that, that's called Itaratra. Itaratra means other than that. Is it clear?
Yes, Ji.
Then Vrittayaha, what are the types of Vritti? Panchatayyaha. Vrittis are of fivefold. And they are Klishtaha, Aklishtaha. Some are painful, some are not painful. It is general classification. What are the types of Vritti? There are 5 kinds of Vritti, thought waves, mental modifications. One is Klishtaha. Klishtaha means painful.
Ji, day before yesterday we have seen that Krishna means egoism.
Klishta means?
Egoism.
No, where is Klishta is egoism?
In this is sixth system of Hindu philosophy.
Where is that? Show me. Klishta. I'll explain what is Klishta.
In Vaisheshika Darshanam, I guess.
Yeah, what is it? What did you say? You said Klishta means?
Egoism.
No, here egoism asmita. Anyway,
See, it is here. Asmita, okay. Or called Krishna, okay.
all these are dukkha.
Okay, okay, Ji.
We'll read that again. Already we have read that, but we will read that. I will explain this and then we'll read from the.
Okay, Ji. Sorry for interrupting.
So klishtaha, general class. I mean, one is painful, other one is not painful. The vritti are of 5 types, and the vrittis can be painful. Dukkha janyaha will create dukkam. Klishtaha means it creates dukkam, pain. Aklishtaha means no pain, no dukkam. It doesn't say sukham. It doesn't say it's not painful. That's why negative. Na klishtaha, klishtaha. Only that much is says. Klishtaha, aklishtaha iti. So vrittayah panchadeyah vrittayah panchavidaha, 5-fold. Then he says, then pramana viparyaya vikalpa. Okay, pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smritayah. You can chant.
Pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smritayah.
What is this? Vrittayah panchatayah, he said, no?
Yes, Ji.
That is what he says. What are the 5 types of vritti? If it is asked, that is right. Pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smritayah iti. So, 6th sutra, this is right. Pramana here means right knowledge. Okay, not the means of knowledge. Pramana means right knowledge. We saw the word pramanam in the context of means of knowledge. That is different. Here, pramana means right knowledge. The word pramanam etymologically, it is derived from the da dhatu, and how you interpret based on that, it gives different meaning. Means of knowledge or just knowledge. Prakarshena miyate anena iti pramanam. In that sense, it becomes a means of knowledge. Miyate iti jnanam prakarshena pramanam. That is that which is known, that which is gained in terms of that which is measured, that is called knowledge. So here pramana means right knowledge. Don't confuse with the means of knowledge. That is different. Understand? So
Yes.
pramana is knowledge, and the knowledge, right knowledge, that is the meaning here. That's why pra is there. Viparyaya means wrong knowledge, opposite to that. Right knowledge, wrong knowledge. These are the different thoughts that is possible in the mind. Vikalpa. Vikalpa means fancy, that delusion, verbal delusion. Vikalpa is the fancy or the verbal delusion. Vikalpa. Nidra is sleep. Sleep also he considers to be a vritti. Even though in the sleep, mind is dormant, mind doesn't act, but still it is considered to be a vritti. Smritayaha. Smritayaha means smriti, memory. You recollect the past experiences or whatever you learned, you recollect, recollection, memory. So these are the 5 types of vrittayaha, panchatayaha. Vrittayaha katividaha, panchatayaha. Right? Taha kaha pramana viparye vikalpa nidra smritayaha. Right? Understand?
Yes, Ji.
Now each are described in successive sutras. Anyway, I am not going to explain everything, but just only for the sake of examination, 10 sutras. If it is asked in the Samadhi Pada, explain 5 sutras, take any 5 sutras and explain. Okay. Only that much. This is only purely from your examination standpoint. We are
Yes.
not going to see every sutra because we don't have time. We have to wind up quickly. Then what are the pramana? That is explained. Pramana is one type of vritti, right knowledge, that is said. Pratyaksha, anumana, agamaha, pramanani. So pratyaksha means direct cognition. Anumana is inference. Agama is shastram, pramanani. So right knowledge are based on these 3 only, he says. What are the 3? One is pratyaksha, direct seeing. Other one is anumana, inference. Third one is agama. That is why this is astika darshana. Agama means shastram, Veda. It accepts Veda. Therefore, 3 types. Okay. 3 types of the pramana, right knowledge. Through the means of knowledge, pratyaksha, anumana, agama. These are the means of knowledge by which you get the right knowledge. Understand? Through the
Yes,
means
Ji.
of knowledge, you get the knowledge. Pramana is one of the vritti, and that it means right knowledge. And what are the means of right knowledge? Pratyaksha, anumana, agamaha. Then viparya. Viparya means opposite to that. What is that? Right knowledge, wrong knowledge. Viparyaha. Viparyaya mithya jnanam atadrupa patrishtam. Stand.
Viparyayah mithya jnanam
Atadrupa pratrishtam.
atadrupa pratishtam.
Viparyaya is equal to, which means mithya jnanam. Mithya jnanam means wrong knowledge, false knowledge, illusory knowledge. Atadrupa pratrishtam, not tadrupam. Tadrupa means tasya rupam tadrupam. Real tadrupam is as it is. Atadrupam is not as it is. Atadrupa pratishtam. Atadrupa pratishtam. So mithya jnanam is pratishtam based on, not on the rupa, not on the nature of the object. Atadrupam. You think the object to be something else, like you see the rope, but you see it as a snake. That is called atadrupam. Understand? Snake is, this rope is tadrupam, but not tadrupa jnanam asti. What jnanam asti? Mithya jnanam. You see it as a snake. The rope is there, that is tadrupam. But you see it as a snake, that is atadrupam. That is mithya jnanam. That is called viparyaya. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
So wrong knowledge is also a knowledge which is false knowledge, and it is based on not on the object, not on the nature of the object. You see the rope, but you take it as a snake. There is snakeness in the rope. There is no snakeness in the rope. That's called atadrupa patrishtam, right? That is wrong knowledge. Then the next one. Shabda jnananupati vastu shunyo vikalpaha.
शब्दज्ञानानुपाती वस्तु शून्यो विकल्पः
Anupati means in keeping with. following upon as a meaning. Shabda Jnana Anupati. Shabda Jnanam is Shabda Jnanam, the knowledge of the words. So based on the knowledge of the words, Vastu Shunyaha Vikalpaha, that is, based on the knowledge of the words, based on the knowledge, based on the Shabda Jnanam. Shabda Jnanam is the knowledge what you gain by words. In keeping with the knowledge of the words, there is no such corresponding reality, the Vastu Shunya. There is no connection between what is heard and understood and between and what is that object is, what it is. That is called Vikalpaha. That is called Vikalpaha. It means Vikalpa meaning fancy, imagination. See, Vikalpa, you have some fancy imagination about something, but the reality is not that, right? It's all verbal. All the advertisements are all what? All the advertisements are really it is not the Vikalpa only. It's all fancy. Yeah, advertisement they praise, they say so many things. Shabda Jnanam. Therefore, you have some knowledge in keeping with the knowledge, what you heard, the Vastu, the objects, or the advertisement is not. When you buy, you realize it is not, right? It is not in keeping with what you heard. This is with regard to others also. You would have heard about the person from a friend. He's a good person, nice person. But when you actually know, it is not. That this is called fancy. Because you have heard, therefore you project something about the person or about the object. That is called vikalpa. That is also one of the thought of the mind. This often we do in our life and sometimes get into problem also. Most of the time we'll live in this, that's called daydreaming. We imagine something which is really not there based on what we heard from others or our own self also. Anyway, so without any proper understanding, we come to conclusion about a thing. That is what hasty conclusion. Having heard somebody complains about someone, what we do? We don't verify it. We take it as the real one and we fight with the person, but the person is innocent. That is vikalpa, right? Shabda Jnana Anupati Vastu Shunyaha Vikalpaha. Beautifully, he has given in the form of a sutra. That Vastu, like you have an image based on the words, without that, based on the words, without really the substance, without having any reality. It's just your fancy, imagination. So that is what is Shabda Jnana Anupati. So it's called verbal delusion. Verbal delusion because the words do not correspond to the reality. Vastu Shunyaha do not correspond to the Vastu. That is called Vikalpaha. Next one. Abhava Pratyalambhana Vrittihi Nidra.
Abhava Pratyayalambana
Vrittihi Nidra.
Vrittihi
Abhava Pratyaya Alambana. Pratyaya Alambana. Savan Dirgha Sandhi. Abhava Pratyaya Alambana Vrittihi Nidra. Nidra means sleep. Vritti means again the thought modification of thought or thoughts. So Pratyaya means the content. Pratyaya also means thoughts only, but you can take the thoughts or you can take it as a content. Then Nidra is, what is Nidra? Nidra is also a type of modification of the mind where there is no thought, there is no content. There is no content. Abhava Pratyaya. Abhava Pratyaya means absence. Absence of the content of the mind. So every thought, every mind, every in other states, thought is there, therefore content is there. The thought is the thought is the content of the mind. But in sleep, what is a thought? There is no thought, therefore there is no content. So Pratyaya, the content is not there. Absence of content, where in Nidra. So therefore, Nidra, which is based on the vritti, which is based on the absence of any content. is called, that is like in the sleep. In the sleep state, there is a vritti which is based on the absence of any content. Pratyaya, abhava pratyaya. So therefore, sleep also is a thought only, but thought of nothingness. No thought. So thoughtless. That is also a type of thought only. Okay. So nothingness also a type of thought only. Nothingness means not that. What do you mean by nothingness? Nothingness is a big thing. So when you cannot say really anything as nothing. Something is there, therefore only the nothing also is there. Nothing also is. Really shunya cannot be. Shunya means not. Shunya means nothingness. Translation is nothingness. But shunya means not. It is not there. Something is there. What you want may not be there. What you think to be may not be there. But something is there. When I go and when I tell you go and ask, find anybody in the lab, you go and see. You say nobody is there. What you say? Nobody is there. Persons are not there, but in the lab, in the computer lab, computer is there. All the CPUs are there. Fan is there. AC is there. Everything is there. But persons are not there. That is different. But it is there. Therefore, what is shunyam? Shunyam itself is a big thing. It's not really shunyam. Nothing is can be shunyam. So therefore, here the sleep also is a state. The sleep also there is a thought, and that is the thought of nothingness. Shunyaha. Then the 11th one, with that we complete this, because up to Smriti only I said that Smriti will complete. Anubhuta Vishaya Sampramoshaha Smritihi.
Anubhuta Vishaya Sampramoshaha Smritihi.
Smriti means memory. Anubhuta Vishaya means that which has been experienced. Anubhuta Vishaya. Anubhuta Vishaya means the Vishaya which have been experienced. Anubhuta Vishaya Asampramoshaha it is. There also it is Samasa. Asampramoshaha means that are not forgotten. So memory means what? Memory means not forgetfulness, right? Smriti
Yes.
means opposite of Vismriti. Vismriti is forgetfulness. Vismriti is forgetfulness. Opposite of that is Smriti. You remember, that is called Asampramoshaha. Asampramosha means not letting the thoughts to go. It means memory. So it means memory. So the memory is based on what? Your anubhuti, your anubhava, anubhuta. So therefore, memory is not allowing the any experienced vishaya to go away. That is the meaning. Smriti, not allowing the mind to go away the experienced thoughts regarding the experienced objects. Vishaya, not only objects. It is generally Vishaya. Vishaya means objects, person, things, situations, anything. Right? Only this much. So 11 sutras, just for the sake of your understanding, and now you have some idea, right? What it is.
Yes.
Now, if you read this, you will understand more better. But we don't have time. That's why I'm just quickly reading. As I said, Yoga Darshana, separate Darshana, that we will deal with it later, not now. Patanjali defines yoga as Chittabhatti Nirodha. We know that. Don't write it is stopping the thoughts of the mind. That is not the right thing, right translation. If it is here also here, the author also says suppressed, not suppressed. It is regulated. You don't have to suppress your mind. Suppressing your mind will become mad. No sadhanas tell you to suppress the mind. You have to master the mind. That's the right word. In fact, in Vedanta we say shama. Shama is mastery over the mind. Mind being an instrument, why should you separate or why should you beat the mind? Mind is an instrument. Because your pen doesn't write, you will destroy the pen. You refill the pen, don't destroy the pen. Pen is just a means. Mind is just a means. Let the mind work for you. Let the pen work for you. How? You refill the pen with the ink. Similarly, the mind also it should be seen as an instrument. Because your servant doesn't serve, what do? You can dismiss a servant and appoint new person. That's a different thing. But first of all, what you do is you try to correct him. Otherwise, where the person will go, where will he get job? Similarly, here also, the mind is a servant. But you make the servant really work for you. That is called mastery. So, therefore, the translation suppressed or suppressed or repressed, cessation, all these are not right translation. Even control also. Control also is not a good term. It means you have the sense of conquering something. You don't have to conquer anything. Mind is not your enemy. It is make it as your friend. Uddaret atmanam atmanam na avasadayet. In Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, you lift yourself by yourself. Don't pull yourself. How can you lift yourself by yourself? Make the mind work for you. Then only that is called lifting yourself up. You don't need anybody to come and lift you up. Let the mind, your mind, you work on the mind and let the mind lift you. Don't pull it down. That's the idea. So when all the vrittis or modifications of the chitta or the mind are controlled, are regulated, the true nature of the Purusha or the self is revealed. This is the translation of the second sutra. Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthanam. Okay. Chitta is the mind stuff that is variously called Antakarana, mind, the manas or the buddhi, whatever name it is. In Vedanta, we divide that Antakarana into 4 parts. Chitta, manas, buddhi, ahankara. Ahankara is ego. That is what our ego is. Okay.
Yes.
Buddhi is intellect, which decides about the which does the decision action, whether to go ahead or not. That buddhi decides. Mind is chanchalatmika manaha, manas. Manas is this or that, pros and cons, goes wavering, oscillating. That is called mind. And chittam is memory. This is what in generally antakarana is different. That chittam is different, and here chitta, the word what Patanjali Maharishi uses is different. Here he uses the word chitta in the sense of antakaranam. Please don't confuse with chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta means antakaranam. And within antakaranam, the antakaranam also, as I said, can be looked upon as 4. As a chittam, manaha, buddhihi, agankaraha. It plays different roles. You may ask how antakaranam can play different role. Why not? Don't you play different role with your teacher? You are a student. With your parents, you are the daughter. With your husband, you are the wife. With your children, you are the mother. The same person, how can you play different roles? When you can play, why not antakaranam? Right? So antakaranam can play different roles. When the mind, antakaranam does a job of thinking, then it is called manas. When it does a job of decision, that's called buddhi. When it recollects, then it is chittam. That chittam is, the antakaranam is called by the name chitta when it does a job of recollection. But here the Patanjali Maharishi uses the word chitta in the meaning of antakaranam. Understand? Don't get confused. Is it clear?
Yes, Ji.
Now, the waves of thoughts, feelings, and emotions that arise in it due to the impact of sense objects upon it through the sense organs like the eyes, ears are called chitta vritti. Chitta, the antakaranam, vritti, the thoughts happen because of the interaction of the sense organs, that is indriyani, with sense objects, indriya vishaya. When there is a transaction, then chitta vritti happens. When you see a flower, rose flower, there is a vritti happening in the chitta. There is a vritti happening in the chitta. Therefore, only you have the knowledge, rose flower. That if seeing a flower, you get the rose knowledge. So therefore, mind is required, chitta is required. Then how can you, if you destroy the chitta, if you suppress the chitta, then how chitta will function? It's a problem. If chitta doesn't function, you know what is the name of that person? That person is a mad person. So therefore, it is not suppression, it is regulation. Chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha means regulation, not suppression. Though these chitta vrittis appear to be innumerable, they can be classified under 5 groups. We saw the chitta vrittaya panchataya sutra. Translation is given. What are they? Pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, and smriti. I explained what it is, each one of them. And here also he says, quickly he says, just a short way, briefly as presented. Pramana is a right knowledge. Pramana means right knowledge. And the means of right knowledge are pratyaksha, anumana, agama. Please note that. Pramana is not the means of right knowledge. That translation can be changed. Pramana meaning right knowledge. And the means of right knowledge are pratyaksha, anumana, and agama. Agama meaning shastra. Viparyaya is false knowledge. Mithya jnanam. As that of a snake in a rope in a semi-darkness. We saw that Mithya jnanam. Tadat rupa pratishtanam. That is the meaning of That sutra meaning is this line. Okay. Vikalpa. Vikalpa is a mental picture that arises on hearing a word or words like Raghu's head. So, hearing the word, yeah, you form an image in your mind. That is called Vikalpa. So, either it could be a fancy or it could be a real thing also. So, Vikalpa can be both. Nidra. Nidra meaning sleep. That condition of the mind where its modification arise out of preponderance of tamas. So, Nidra is nothing but that tamas. Tamas is inertia. So that is also considered to be a state. So thoughtless state. Thoughtless state means not meditation, meditative state. Here, in the sleep, it is the person is ignorant. Not that he is a jnani. Okay. Therefore, tamas is there. Therefore, only we say sleep also to be taken as a state. The state where the vrittis are absent. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
the right translation or good translation it could be this, where the modifications arise out of a preponderance of tamas. So tamo vritti. Tama vritti is that vritti. That time you may not, sleep time you may not realize that vritti, but after you get up from the sleep, you know, I had a nice sleep. I had a nice sleep. I don't know anything. I didn't know anything in sleep. I didn't know anything also is a knowledge. So that is called tamas. That is a vritti. That is also it. I don't know anything is a vritti. You know anything, you know something, that is a vritti. You don't know anything, that is also a vritti only. That is also a thought. Unless you are there in the sleep, how can you know that you don't know anything? So you are there all the time, and your vritti, nothingness, that also is there. And that nothingness, right? The sleep, the thought about nothingness. That's why I said thought about nothingness is called sleep. Then next one, smriti, memory of previous experiences, anubhuta vishaya. And here the author used the word asam. What is that? Asam pramoshaha. That's called. That's called smriti. So these chittavritis, when they produce klesha. So here it is. Generally it was we saw here klishtaha, aklishtaha. When they produce klesha, pain, they are called klishtaha. That's what he says here. These chittavritis, when they produce klesha or suffering due to avidya, asmita, etc. That the sutra is later, avidya, asmita, etc. Then that vritti is called klishta. When they help the purusha to free himself from them, then they are called aklishta. So we saw in the sutra, vritteha panchatayaha, 5 types of vritti, and they are painful and not painful. What are klishtaha? When they cause pain to the person, then they are called klishta. These 5 vrittis become klishta vrittayaha. Viparya becomes klishta viparyaya vrittihi. Vikalpa becomes klishta vikalpa vrittihi. Nidra will become, anyway, nidra, there is no such thing. If it is a dream, then it is possible. Then smriti becomes smriti klishta vrittihi. If it is aklishta, not painful, that is also possible. So, klishtaha aklishtaha, that is, they are painful, some are painful and not painful. Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
then the next one, chitta of the mind has got 5 states. Shipta, Moda, Vikshipta, Ekagra, Niruddha. I told this. Sutra is a, but we're not going to see that. It's not required. Just reading. Okay. Yoga is not possible in the first 3 states. In the mind is in the grip of Rajas and Tamas. Not possible. Where when the mind is highly impulsive, when it is dull or Vikshipta, the Vikshepa is because of Rajas. There, yoga is not possible. When the mind is in this such a state, then yoga, regulation of the thoughts of the mind is not possible. When sattva predominates, then only it's possible. That is possible in ekagra and niruddha. When sattva predominates, the mind can attain the one-pointedness, leading to sampragyata samadhi. Sampragyata samadhi, asampragyata samadhi. 2 types of samadhi. Samadhi meaning absorption of the mind. Samadhi meaning absorption of the mind. So when the sattva predominates, 2 types of focus, one-pointedness possible. One is sampragyata, meaning state of perfect concentration where there is a clear cognition of the object. That is sampragyata. And in the last, the niruddha state, there is total suppression of all the modification leading to asampragyata samadhi. where no object is cognized, only the Purusha remains established in this intrinsic state. The Purusha remains established in its intrinsic state. We saw that Sutra. What is it? Corresponding to this line. Sutra corresponding to this line. Tada drashtagu swarupe avasthana. We saw, right?
Yes, Ji.
That is third Sutra. The translation of that Purusha remains established in its intrinsic state, in its real state. Then he becomes a mukta, a liberated person, free from all the trammels, disturbances of Prakriti. Then obstacles to yoga. Patanjali calls the obstacles to yoga as antarayas. Antaraya means that which comes in between. What are they? They are 9. He has given the sutra number. You can see 30. That is 30. Vyadi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Dvisi, Avirati, Bhranti, Darshana, Alabdabhumikatva, Tatvana, Anavastittvani, Anavasti Tatvani, Chitta Vikshepaste Antarayaha iti. Vikshepaha te Antarayaha. Anavastitatvani Chitta Vikshepaha te Antarayaha. Antarayaha means obstacles. So what are the obstacles? Vyadi, the first one, Vyadi, illness. Sthana, apathy. Samshaya, doubt. Pramada, Pramada is negligence or Pramada, heedlessness. Alasya, laziness. Avirati, there is no Vairagya, Avirati, lack of dispassion, renunciation. Bhranti Darshana, misconception, seeing something or something, Bhranti. Then Alabdabhu Mikatva, failure to attain yogic state. Alabda, Alab is not gaining. Bhumikatva, not able to gain that state. Then Anavasti Tattva, instability, not able to retain that state. Anavasti Tattva. These are the Antaraya, the obstacles which can come for a yogi. Then the illness has to be remedied by medical treatment. Apathy has to be overcome by exercising, willpower. What are the means he is giving? What are the obstacles and what are the means? So you have to note this. If it is asked, you have to write what are the obstacles possible and what are the means, right? Doubt. Doubt may be countered by the faith, Shraddha. Doubt is that then what is required? What is required is Shraddha. Shraddha in the words of the teacher and the words of the Shastram. Right? Then, heedlessness must be abolished by eternal vigilance. Pramada means heedlessness. Heedlessness means Pramada means negligent. Being, what do you call it? Negligent. So you are not serious, negligent. However, you have to be alert. Laziness should be conquered by healthy activity. Lack of renunciation should be nullified through Viveka. So Viveka and Vairagya is important. Need to have a Viveka and Vairagya. Then the last 3 obstacles must be tackled as per the advice of a competent teacher. That Alabdha, the Anavastitattva, then Alabdha Bhumikatva and Bhranti Darshana, that has to be the help of the teacher. Patanjali adds 5 more obstacles to yoga since they too distract the mind. 31 he says 5 more obstacles. They are dukkha, daurmanasya, then angamajayetva, shvasa and prashvasa. Dukkha meaning pain. Daurmanasya is frustration, depression, despair. Angamajayetva means the lack of control over the body, shaking the body, etc. That's called Angamajayatva. Shvasa is breathing. Prashvasa is expiration, breathing in, breathing out. So if there are disturbance, spasmodic breathing, there is no regularity in that spasmodic breathing, breathing in and breathing out. They all also can create obstacles. So what are the obstacles? If it is asked, you have to write sutra, if possible sutra, with the meaning. Sutra 30 and 31. These are the obstacles possible. 9 plus 5, 14 obstacles. And they have to be 9 already has given what are the remedies for this. As it is given the book, that much you know that enough. they also have to be encountered by appropriate remedies. Up to this we saw in the last class, right? So we have to do from some practical hints. Patanjali gives a few suggestions which help an aspirant to ward off the obstacles to yoga and attain greater concentration, ultimately leading to samadhi or the experience of the self, not mystical, just atmanubhuti. Out of this, vairagya and abhyasa come first. Vairagya and abhyasa comes first. It's a in that sutra you can see 112. The 12th sutra it says Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tan Nirodha. How can you tackle all these things? Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam. In Krishna, in Gita also Bhagavan Krishna says, Abhyasa Enatu Vairagya, Abhyasa Enatu Vairagya, Vairagya Enatu Grigyate. Chanchalam hi Mana Krishna, Pramati Balavadram. Arjuna asks, mind is so troubling. How can we have some mastery over the mind? How can I make the mind obey my orders? Bhagavan Krishna says, yes, what you say is right, but the mind can be tamed. Abhyasena tu konteya, vairagyena cha grihyate. Iti Bhagavan Krishna says in 6th chapter. 6th chapter all talk about dhyana, talks about tackling the mind. The same idea here also. Here also Patanjali, Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam, same word is used, Abhyasa and Vairagya. Practice and that renunciation, which is born of Viveka. Viveka Vairagya. That's why detachment. Detachment born of understanding, not because of hatred. You have to lay down your experience, the object, the jagat, you have to lay down based on your anubhava, your experience. You have to see what is nitya and what is anitya, which is real, which is unreal. That which comes and goes doesn't give you happiness. They come and go, they are not real. So what is real? That Atma is real. Where is Atma? That is myself. That is Viveka. Born of that Viveka, therefore you move away from those things or experiences which take away from this Atmanubhava. So that is Vairagya. So Viveka Vairagya and Abhyasa. This has to be practice, constant practice. The former helps one to take the mind away from the sense objects, because sense objects they carry you all the time. The sense objects carry you away from you all the time. Which carries you from yourself, the sense objects. Where are sense objects? They are in the world. The Jagat is nothing but these sense objects. They're available for you, available for your Indriya Pratyaksha. So seeing that you are carried away. So that which takes you away from you is the sense objects. So therefore one has to be vigilant with regard to handling them or keep away from them. That is called Vairagya. The second one is Abhyasa, practice that takes oneself forward to Bhagavan. The other hints given are attitude of friendship, Maitri Bhavaha, towards those who are happy. Have friendship with people, those who are happy, not with those who are dukhi. Then you also will be bogged down. Those are Maitri, compassion, Karuna. Compassion is Karuna. Towards those who are suffering, have compassion. Controlling the pranic energy, controlling your energy by regulating the breath. That is pranayama. So he's giving pranayama. Meditating on the jyoti in the center. You have to imagine the jyoti in the hridaya and doing meditation. Contemplating on the minds of great person. Repeatedly remembering and elevating. Repeatedly remembering highly elevating dreams if one had them. If you have some dream, which is something very good, spiritual, auspicious dream, keep remembering them. Don't forget. It is a good sign. And contemplating on the forms of gods and goddesses or planets like the moon or the psychic centers in one body. Psychic centers means the different chakras are there. Contemplating on them. By this, these are some of the hints which are given to tackle them. All these methods help the spiritual aspirant to gain peace of mind as also greater over it. Now comes the sadhana pada, Ashtanga Yoga, 8 steps. Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga. There it says Purusha or the Jivatma, the individual is in bondage because of his inordinate attachment. Attachment to his body, mind, sense complex, which is a product of Prakriti. The body, mind, senses are jada only. They are prakriti only. And he has attachment with this body, mind, senses. Attachment means taking that to be oneself. I take myself to be this body alone. When the body suffers, I think I suffer. When the body is in pain, I'm in pain. When the body experiences sukham, then I feel good. So not only body. Body means body, mind also. When the mind is dull, I say I am dull. When the body is having fever, I say I'm having fever. Your body is having fever, not you. You cannot have fever. If you have fever, that fever will never go. That comes and goes is not yours. Because you cannot undergo any change. You cannot undergo any change. That which undergo changes cannot be you. So since the body and mind undergo changes, you take that changes to be you yourself. Therefore only you suffer. Therefore only you suffer. Therefore only you are happy also. Both. So let the body and mind do the job. You be as you are. It's not an easy thing, right?
Amji.
I'm not well. I'm not attending the class. But who is not well? Are you not well? How can you be not well? You are always well only. How can you be not well? If you are not well, then that becomes your swarupa. If you are not well, you will be not well all the time. But not. You are well. Some days you are not well. Some days it means that is not you. That is the body mind. As you body mind also is just a property. It is just a property. Property is not you. You have a car. Car is you? No. I possess a car. Car is mine. I am not a car. If the car damages or car undergoes something, I don't undergo any change. Because I have attachment for the car. Therefore, if the car is damaged, I worry. I cry for the car damage. Similarly, the body mind also. It is just a possession, like a car, like a house, like anything, like a mobile. It is just a possession. So your possession is what you possess. That is not permanent. That undergoes changes. So why do you worry about the change happening to that? Change about to happen, it will happen. No mobile will stay for forever. You buy mobile when it is introduced. Do you think you will keep it for till the end? Never. Everybody, you see, they change a mobile after 2 years. Either it is broken or doesn't function. Some problem always happen. Battery, otherwise battery, just the size of the battery increases, goes up. It is just bulges, as it had happened in my mobile once. So they come and go. But we have abhimana with that, strong abhimana, inordinate attachment. So that is called bondage. The aim of yoga is yoga, separating of the Purusha from the clutches of this Prakriti. That is what Bhoja commentator Bhoja said. He defined yoga as yoga, separating the real from the unreal. This comes about by Viveka Khyati, the knowledge, right knowledge. The Prakriti and Purusha are essentially separate from each other. Khyati meaning knowledge, Viveka meaning discrimination, right knowledge, therefore right knowledge. Prakriti cannot be you, you are the Purusha. This is according to Sankhya. Okay, we are discussing Sankhya Darshana. Vedanta also we say the same thing, Purusha, but we say that Prakriti also not different from you. That is something different that we will see in Vedanta Darshana. Now, Yoga Sutras describe a graded discipline comprising 8 steps called Ashtanga, 8 limbs, 8 steps. What are they? These are the sadhana, disciplines required. What are they? Yama, restraint, niyama, observances, asana, posture, prana. This asana only nowadays it's called yoga. I'm doing yoga. You are doing yoga asana, not yoga. We say yoga, you have to do all the 8 limbs. Your asana and pranayama only they do. They don't follow yama, they don't follow niyama, and no other things they follow. They do just yoga, asana and pranayama. That alone is called yoga. And they also chant what this Yoga Sutra. Ata yoga anushasanam, chittaviti nirodha yoga. They also chant doing asana. But there's nothing to do with this. Because they don't follow pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. None of the other steps they follow. Only asana and pranayama, and they call it is Patanjali yoga. It's all the way of making money. That's all. Nothing more than that. So asana, pranayama, then pratyahara, then dharana, dhyana, samadhi. These are the Ashta Anga, 8 limbs. So this 8 limbs, each one is going to be described. This we'll see the sutram about this. The last 3 are called, okay, out of this, the first 5 are called Bahiranga, external sadhana, and the last 3 are called Antaranga sadhana, and internal aids to yoga. Now, the first one is Yama. The first one is Yama. Where is Yama? Yama means not Yamadharmaraja. Yama from the dhatu, Yam.
Yam dat.
Yam dhatu. So, in sadhana pada, here it is, which sutra? Ashtanga Yoga. Here it is. Yama, Niyama, Asana. Do you see 29?
Ji.
Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyaharana, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, Ashtau Angani, Ashtavangani. Okay. Ashtavangani. So what is Yama? And all it is described as successive sutra. So this also required for your examination point of view. You can note this sutra. Samadhi Pada, starting from this sutra 29. Samadhi Pada, which Pada Samadhi Pada is? Dvitiya Adhyaya. So in that second 29 the sutra onwards, we will see the sutra and we will see the explanation. Both will do. Right?
Okay.
So what are the Yama? Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigrahaha, Yamaha. Satya, sorry, not Satya. Satya, Asteya. Satya plus Asteya, Satya Asteya. You have to do Sandhi Vicheda.
Ji.
Then Brahmacharya and Aparigraha. Aparigraha, why Graha? Bhagavachanam. Because 5 are there.
Ji.
Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, and Aparigraha. Therefore, Bhagavachanam. Ramaha. Therefore, Aparigraha iti Bhagavachanam. 29th Sutra. Now, the first one is Yama. What is Yama is going to be explained here. Each one we will see. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Parigraha, Yamaha. Yama is what we'll see. Ahimsa is non-violence, not harming, non-injury. Satya is truthfulness, speaking the truth, following the truth, not only speaking. Most of us speak the truth. And neither speak nor follow. Or speak, don't follow. Or follow, don't speak. That is better, in fact. Follow, don't speak. Don't speak means not that you should tell lie. Don't tell anything. That is better. Following the truth about telling lie, that is also not Satya. So action and the thought should be in alignment. That's Satya, truthfulness. Then Asteya. Asteya means not stealing. Honest, it's called being honest. In thought, in word, and action. So non-stealing. Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is continence, sexual continence. Abstaining oneself from any immoral activities. That is called Brahmacharya. Aparigraha. Aparigraha is non-acceptance of gifts. Somebody is giving, they should not grab. That's called Aparigraha. Non-possessiveness, non-acquisitiveness. These are the 5 which constitute Yama, the first step. Right? So these are the Yama. Second one is Niyama. So if you see this Yama, main thing they mention about don't do this. That should not be done. You can see they are in negative. Among them 4 are negative. All are ahimsa, na ahimsa, ahimsa. Satya, of course, it is positive. Asteya, na asteya, asteya. Na parigraha, parigraha. Therefore, they are called don'ts. That one should not do. Satya should be followed. Brahmacharya should be followed. Then Niyama. Niyama includes the second limb, second anga of the yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. This Ashtanga Yoga, it is not only for this darshana, it is required, it can be practiced by any darshana. All these steps. This following this Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, all these things, anybody can follow whichever darshana because it is helpful for the body, mind, and senses. Body, mind, yes, of course, sense management is therefore senses. Then Niyama. Niyama is, you can see next one, Niyama. Where is Niyama? Number 32. Number 32. Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Svadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhanani, Niyamaha. Do you see that 32?
Yes, Ji.
That is the Niyama. So that 31 not required. That directly I'm going to 32. Okay.
Yes.
31. 31 now, yeah, don't have time, that's why not required. So one we can see 31, what says. Ete jati desha kala samaya anavachinnaha sarvabhaumaha mahavratam. These, we're talking about these five, that is Yama. Ete jati desha kala samaya anavachinnaha sarvabhaumaha mahavratam. These are considered to be mahavrata, great vrata, great vows, great tapas. These five are considered to be great vows. This not conditioned by jati, desha, kala, not conditioned by the jati, the birth, the jati, the class, or desha, the time, the place, or the time, kala, not conditioned by any of the thing. And sarvabhaumaha, it is extended to all the stages of life, not limited. It is considered to be mahavrata. It is a great vrata, mahavrata. So should be, can be followed by anyone and not conditioned by anything. That's called this. So these are the basic rules for basic forms of the abstention which one has to follow. They can be practiced without any reservation to time, place, purpose, or the caste conditions. That's the idea. Now, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Svadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani, Niyamaha. What is Niyama? It's being said. Shaucha means cleanliness, being clean. Shaucha is cleanliness. Santosha, contentment. Santosha is contentment. Tapas. Tapas is austerity. Austerity of the body, mind, speech, senses. That's called tapas. For the mind, like the fasting, etc. For the speech, maunam, etc. For the mind, doing meditation, etc. All these things are tapas. Svadhyaya, very important. Study. One should never stop studying. Studying of what? Not the comic books. Studying of not the comic books or the what is that? These books. Anyway, this story books, novels. Here talking about study of Shastram and repetition of mantras, japa, and Ishvara Pranidhana. Very important. This is something very unique to this. Because that's why it's Yoga Darshana, it's called Seshvara Yoga Sankhya. Ishvara Pranidhana, devotion to Bhagavan is important. It means we should have Shraddha and should have Shraddha in Bhagavan. Bhagavan is there. There should not be any doubt with regard to it. It is not some mental concept. It is not just an idea, some idea. Bhagavan is there. That Shraddha should be there. I'm also saying it is not a concept, it is the truth. Without Ishvara, nothing can happen in the world. If any good happens because of Ishvara. If anything bad happens, that is also because of Ishvara only. That Shraddha is required. Everything has got some reason. Even if bad thing happens, any earthquake or flood, people die. That is how it is to happen. We have to accept as it is. We can cry, we can worry, have anxiety, all these things can be there. But this is how it is supposed to happen, it will happen. That is why Jnani is not shaken by any of this Sukha, Dukkha, Anubhava. Because he knows this is how it's going to happen. Okay, therefore these are the five niyama. The former contribute to social harmony, the latter to the personal impurity. That's very important. Yama is mainly for social harmony because there against it's all interaction with others, therefore social with others. Whereas this niyama, it's all about you personal, therefore personal purity. So the former is required for maintaining the social harmony, the latter is required for your personal growth, personal purity. The three disciplines of Tapas, Svadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana, they are grouped together by Patanjali and they are called by the name Kriya Yoga. There is something called Kriya Yoga that is different, but self-realization fellowship, that Paramamsa Yogananda, Yukteswar Giri, Lahari Mahasaya and Babaji, that they call Kriya Yoga. That yoga, that is different. Here, the Patanjali Maharishi, he calls the three Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana as Kriya Yoga. And they are called yoga, Kriya Yoga or yoga. Now, next one is asana. Asana is that posture in which one can sit steadily and comfortably for the practice of yoga. So one should be able to sit in a posture without shaking in Padmasana or whichever comfortable asana, stay in that position for a length of time. There are some sadhus who can sit in one position for 24 hours, non shaking. No knee pain, nothing. You can sit. That is the mastery in asana. And pranayama is controlling the breath. Vital health means the breath in the body through the regulation of breathing. When the sense organs are withdrawn from the sense objects, they remain merged as it were in the mind. This is called pratyahara. So pranayama is controlling control of breath, and pratyahara is pratyahara. You are withdrawing the sense organs from the sense object. That is called pratyahara. So pratyahara is the first step required for meditation. If sense organs goes out, then how can you sit for meditation? Therefore, pratyahara is withdrawing the sense organs from the respective sense objects and keep them under your management. So that is pratyahara. This is called the shama in Vedanta, managing the mind, the management of the mind management, pratyahara. Let the mind be with you, that is pratyahara. The next three disciplines, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, are actually three continuous steps of the same process. In dharana, what you do, the mind is fixed on the object of concentration. That is dharana. You are holding the object where? In the mind. When this concentration becomes uninterrupted, like the oil poured from one vessel into another, it is called dhyana. Ramana Maharshi in his Upadeshasara beautifully says, what is dhyana? He says that dhyana is same thing he says, like the oil flows continuously. The oil is viscous, so it flows like a continuous one. But oil is not continuous. It's because of viscosity, you think that oil is continuously flowing, right? So how the oil flows? The flow of the oil is compared to that's how the meditation should be. That how should be the meditation. So that Ramana Maharshi beautifully says, that's a shloka in Upadesha Sara. That's a beautiful shloka. Let me find out and tell you that in the next class.
Astu ji.
Nice shloka. What is that shloka? I'm just trying to recall. Not getting it. Anyway, it's a wonderful thing. Okay. Anyway, if the dhara something will come like an unbroken flow of oil. So that is how it should be. Something like that. It is. I'm trying to recall. If I recall, I'll tell you. Okay. Have you heard Ramana Maharshi's Upadesha Saram? Have you heard the name Upadesha Saram?
No ji.
Very good. There is talks about this. Just. Ajidharaya Srota Sasamam Sarala Chintanam Virlataf Param. Beautiful, yes. Ajidharaya Srota Sasamam Sarala Chintanam Virlataf Param. That the meter is like that. Karturajnaya Prapyate Palam Karma Kim Param Karma Tajadam Gati Mahodadau Patanakaranam Palama Shashvatam Gati Nirodakam. So like that it goes. Beautiful. That is the shloka is Ajyadaraya. Ajya means oil. Ajyadaraya Srota Sasamam Srota Sarala Chintanam Viralataf Param iti. So that is the uninterrupted focus, the flow of thoughts about a particular object is called dhyana. When that dhyana ripens into a state of total absorption on the object, so much The aspirant is not aware of his own existence. That is called samadhi. So your concentration is so one point focused that you are not aware of yours. Even when insect bites on you, snake comes and passes through you, on you, you don't recognize that. That state is called samadhi. And that samadhi can be attained by Ishvara Pranidhana, Sutra 123. That is why devotion to Bhagavan is important. Going to temple, worship, everything is important. Patanjali terms these three steps are Sanyama. We can note this. Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi is called Sanyama. Sanyama should always be on one and the same object. So, the three steps, that's why the three steps are together called one process, and that is called Sanyama. Sanyama is a word used by Patanjali Maharishi himself. And Tapasvadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana is called Kriya Yoga. You can note these meanings. Tapasva, these names, Kriya Yoga. If it is asked, you have to write Tapasvadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana, Kriya Yoga, together called Kriya Yoga. And Dharana Dhyana Samadhi is called Sanyama. What is Sanyama? If it is asked, you have to write these three are called Sanyama. Sanyama is the name used by Patanjali Maharishi. And Yoga Siddhi. So Siddhi means what are the achievement you can achieve by the practice of yoga. That is not the focus. Our focus or anybody's focus should be, because siddhis are also distract the mind, distract the person. Siddhi means supernatural powers. That's called siddhi. The yoga practice against supernatural powers. The belief that one can attain supernatural powers by tapas and by the grace of God is very ancient. It is not a belief, it is a truth. People gain some power, supernatural power. They can become, Hanumanji has got all the Ashta Maha Siddhi, Ashta Siddhi, Anima Garima. He can become smallest, he can become biggest, he can travel through air, he can disappear. All these things are Ashta Maha Siddhi. Hanumanji had got all the Siddhis. Even when this Ramakrishna Paramahamsa asked Swami Vivekananda, whether you want this Siddhis, I can give you. Then the Vivekananda Swamiji told, is there any of this Siddhi for me to know Bhagavan? No, these Siddhis will not help you. Then he said, no, I don't require that. So that was the commitment in knowing Bhagavan, knowing the Lord. Okay, so in fact, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he goes further and says, these are like the excrement of a prostitute. He says like that. So therefore, siddhis are distractive. That is the idea. Okay, but it is possible. It's not a belief. It can be gained by following certain steps, by regulating the breath, etc. Patanjali describes quite a few of such powers in the second and third chapters. That's called Vibhuti Pada. The third chapter is in order to generate faith in the minds of the ordinary seekers of truth. For instance, he declares that while in the company of a person who is well established in the virtue of ahimsa, even animals inimical to one another will live in peace and mutual harmony. They say, I've heard, I don't know whether it's true or not, whatever. When Buddha is there, they say around 10 kilometers of him, there will not be any himsa. No animals will fight among each other. So that is because the Buddha follows the principle of ahimsa. That is what a sannyasi is supposed to follow. Ahimsa paramo dharma. The important oath what a sannyasi takes is, he declares to the world, I am a person, I am not a competent person, I don't compete with you, and I won't harm anyone. So be free with me. Even if you harm, I will not harm. That is what a sannyasi proclaims to the world by taking sannyasa. So, himsam na kuryat. That is a general statement. Shastram says, don't hurt others. But sannyasi, as a vow, it takes ahimsa, na ahimsa. By word, by thought, even by the action, even by word, even by thought, even by thought. Such a person is there, even though the animals, tiger and cow, they don't go together, but they live in harmony and peace. So the roots of a person rooted in Satya will be infallible. The person who is rooted in Satya, Satya Vachanam. Whatever he says, it will happen. Like this Abhinama Bhattar is there. When the Raja asked what Tithi was day, he told it was Purnami. It was actually Amavasya, but he told Purnami. And that became Satya. That became true. On the Amavasya day, there was moon on this moon in the sky. So the words of such person will become infallible. One who observes aparigraha very strictly can get a knowledge of his past and future lives. One who doesn't receive anything from others, if he follows as a vrata, he will be able to know his past as well as future lives. Sanyama on different objects will endow the yogi with several occult powers. It's called Siddhi, occult powers. For instance, by Sayama on the 5 elements, Prithvi and Apa, the yogi can get Ashtasiddhis or eightfold powers like Anima. Anima is the power to become small in size, Magima the power to grow, etc. These are mentioned in 3rd chapter 44 and 45. Just we will see what are they're not interested in that Siddhi. Just names you can know, right? Vivadi 44 and 45. I think all these things you would have read, right? Before? No?
No, Ji.
No, Ji.
Really? First time you are reading?
Yes, Ji, very first time.
The 44 and 45. In the 3rd chapter, right? Chapter 4th chapter, 3rd chapter 44, 45. This is the 3rd one. 3rd chapter. Vibhuti Pada. Yes. 44 and 45 sutras. Mentions all the Ashtama Siddhi. Where is that? Anyway, it is there, somewhere it is there. I have to see which, I think number is not correct. I'll tell you later. Let us not waste time. Let's go forward. Anima, Garima, and so on. Some of the other powers given in the work are thought reading. You can read the mind of the person, thought reading. And I've read the life of biography of Vivekananda that he taught his brother disciple how to read the thought of a mind. And disappearance from view, getting enormous strength, understanding the language of animals and other creatures, so on. There was one saint, Chattambi. His name is Chattambi in Kerala. He can understand the language of animals, even rats also. He used to speak to the rats. I mean, his room, some clothes were eaten by rats. Then he called all the rats. They came. Who ate? He asked, who ate? Who the cloth or this some dish? Then one rat came forward and now nodded his head. Yes, I'm the one. Then he warned them and sent them away. So, Chattambi, I think his name is. I've read his biography, all small biography book. So the yogi can understand the language of animals, other creatures. All these things are possible. These are all the occult powers. However, Patanjali, who as a scientist of mind describes these powers since they are part of the science, also cautions the aspirant not to seek them. That is important advice given. Because this can take away a person from what is really intended. What is intended is Atmajnana, moksha. This will take you away from moksha. This is also samsara only. This siddhis will help you to gain only the vishayas of the world. Will not help you to know yourself. Will not help you to reach Bhagavan, gain Bhagavan. Samsara will continue. These powers you will enjoy, but you will not be free from samsara. Then what is the objective of practicing yoga? So, there was one saint, Changdev Jnaneshwari. Have you heard Jnaneshwari?
No, Ji.
I have not heard the name of the Marathi saint Jnaneshwari. Okay.
No, Ji.
Jnaneshwari and Changdev, they are live in the contemporary they are sadhus, I mean saints. Changdev practiced tapas for 1400 years, it seems. So he has got complete mastery over these creatures. So he can tame a tiger, and he always his vagana is tiger. He will sit on the tiger and come, and he can make the trees bend. He can make the trees straight. straighten the bridge, all these things you can do. So when he was coming on the tiger, there were trees bending and blocking his road. Then just by his power, he made them stand direct. So Changdev. But he didn't have Atma Jnanam. Whereas Jnaneshwari, he taught him a lesson. These powers will not help you to become free, will not help you to become free. This will not give moksha. Jnaneshwari also great yogi and he said Jnani, who wrote commentary on Gita. It's called Jnaneshwari. Is famous. Gita commentary is available. From young age, there were 4 people, 4 brothers, 3 brothers and 1 sister. All the 4 were saints. Gita Amritanubhava, I think the name of the book. I have not read that commentary. Anyway, Jnaneshwari, it is there. There's a movie on Jnaneshwari in Marathi, but English subtitles. You can please Google, go to it's available in YouTube.
Yes, Ji.
You can just watch. Or I have a video with me, but I can't send because it is too large to send. But it's available in YouTube itself. Just type Jnaneshwari and watch the movie. It's a very nice movie. So there you will see Changdev and this Jnaneshwari. So what I'm saying is, these powers, the Changdev practiced for 1400 years, but could not gain Jnanam and Moksha. So therefore Jnaneshwari will teach him the lesson. These powers, with these powers we can have mastery over creatures. But they have limited use. They will not help you to gain moksha, I think. Anyway, the temptation of these powers can lead him away from the goal of life. That is Kaivalya or liberation. But after the attainment of Kaivalya, since he may continue to live for some time due to the karma which has already started, he will have those powers and can safely use them for the good of mankind. Fine. In conclusion, Yoga Darshana is not only ancient but also very practical. Even the Vedantic systems accept its sadhana aspects. That is why I said in Vedanta also we talk about this. We need this Ashtanga Yoga, the disciplines. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dhyana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, all those things are required. Modern psychologists too are discovering its utility in guarding or in regaining mental health. Methods and techniques of yoga are becoming quite popular all over the world. The first 2 steps, Yama and Niyama, they deal with values. As Bhagavan Krishna talks about the 13th chapter of the Gita, 20 spiritual values. Amanittam, Arimmittam, Ahimsa, Kshanti, Rajyamiti, talks about 20 spiritual disciplines. Those disciplines and this Ashtanga Yoga, all these things are helpful for a spiritual person. Okay. They can contribute to the well-being of the individual as well as the society. The various asanas, better known as yoga asanas, can help in regaining, maintaining one's health. Thus, the yoga system is gradually gaining universal acceptance. With this, we conclude Yoga Darshana and comes then Mimamsa. It is called Purva Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa Darshana. That we will see in the next class. You have any doubts? I'm surprised you are done yoga, but many things saying you are learning for the first time.
Ji, that's really a bitter truth, Ji.
Huh?
That's really a bitter truth, Ji.
But Yoga Sutra, one paper was there, you said, right?
Yes, Ji.
How did you write the paper without this?
Actually, we are supposed to learn all the sutras in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, but we don't even know what the first sutra of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Then what was the exam all about?
It's all about what is Patanjali Yoga Sutra, who is Patanjali.
How the person, how that they prepare the question paper and what is it, 60 marks or 100 marks? How can be prepared?
The question will be who is Patanjali?
That is 1 mark only.
What
about for 10 marks or 12 marks?
We have to write about Patanjali and
Then what else you will write? Patanjali only is there after that? After that, you have to talk about Ashtanga Yoga, you have to talk about what is yoga, what are the different states of mind, Klishta, all those things are there. In detail you have to write. Everything is further elaborated, right?
yes, we have done it in a like Stula Rupam, like only we have read the outline of the syllabus.
You have not studied the sutra. Without sutra, that now that can be a really yoga, what is called Patanjali Yoga Sutra subject.
Ji, we have even completed Kumar Sambhavam like that, Ji. We don't even know the any one shloka in that, but we have completed that.
Kumara Sambhava.
Yes, Ji.
That is Asambhavam. Then it must be great. You all must be great. Asambhavam Sambhavati. Okay. Anyway. But it is not. It's not like that. What is dharana? What is dhyana samadhi? Everything is discussed. You see here. Trayam ekatra sanyamaha. This is a sutta. This is what we saw in the book also. Trayam means the dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Ekatra is called sanyama. Sanyama is a word used by Patanjali. The three together is called sanyama. Anyway, we can do yoga darshana later. I tell you that time. You can join the class. I studied some, I mean, not elaborately, but after that I studied on my own elaborately. Not with the commentary, with some English books. Commentary I never studied. And with Sanskrit commentary I never studied. But we don't need actually that much. But English commentary, whatever is available, that is, I think it's enough. As I told, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, simple explanation by Prabhavananda from Ramakrishna Math and L.K. Taimni, that's the book I referred. But those books, when I read now, I find a lot of the words which are not proper or which could have been replaced by better words. So I don't just carried away by their explanations. Because with the understanding of Vedanta and appropriate words also have to be used. So that therefore, because appropriate usage of words is what we learn from Swamiji, Puja Swamiji. So we have to use the right words. Then only use the right knowledge. So therefore, I don't literally take their, what they said in the book. So many things are sometimes, unnecessary, or some I look upon as something really blabbering. So we have to be very alert to. We have to read the author. So in that sense, Taimini is better. I won't say best. It is okay. Which is the best? Then you have to read the commentary to this. The commentary to the Yoga Sutras are there. Vyasa commentary, Bhoja commentary. And the translation of the commentary, if it is there, that will also be helpful. Anyway, we will just have a later Yoga Darshana.
Yes,
See.
Ji.
So with this we will stop. Then Purva Mimamsa, we will see that. Afternoon shall we meet?
Yes, Ji. If you have time.
Yeah, we have, because April 15th we have to conclude. So before that I have to complete Karakam and this Uttara Mimamsa and Purva Mimamsa. Tomorrow also we can have. Sunday we cannot have, but tomorrow we can have.
Okay, Ji. Last week you have said that we
Ah.
will be having Samasa class at 5:30 a.m.
Last week. What Samasa class?
I guess Dvandva Samasa class.
No, tomorrow 10:30 we can have, but Samasa class. Today,
You have shared the link also, and you have asked us to watch the video, and you said,
oh, that is on Friday. I mean today, right? Today 5:30. Talking about today.
"Oh,
It's on every Friday only.
oh, okay, Ji. So it's over today, right?"
Today I didn't do that. Because I did Ashtadhyayi Pravesha. That
Okay.
link already I have shared with you.
Yes, Ji.
Next week I will do Samasa. That time I'll send you the link. You can join 5:30.
Okay, Ji.
This week I didn't do. And Samasa we will cover, but Karaka, certain things I have to quickly do it. And this Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, and little about Samasa. So we will try to do within April 15th.
Okay, Ji.
So tomorrow we can meet. Today also we'll meet 3:30. Tomorrow also we will.
Tomorrow we are having some classes related to communication
Yes,
skills.
Ji. Communication skill class.
When, what time?
10 to 1 G.
So what time then we can meet?
Ji, evening 3:30 to 4:30.
Okay, if we have class, it will be better because otherwise 2 days will go. And yesterday we could not have. At least the
Yes.
class also should be for 2 hours. I mean, at least 1.5 hours. Okay. Anyway, you just see and tell me. Tomorrow, today we will meet. And tomorrow also we can meet. Whichever time, 3:30 you said, fine.
Yes, Ji.
Astu Ji.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।
धन्यवादः जी।
धन्यवादः।
धन्यवादः जी।
धन्यवादः।